All right, so now we're ready to go ahead and click onto a class and get in and start playing around and exploring the different learning aspects that Canvas provides for students. Since I'm an English teacher, I'm going to go ahead and click on my English class to show you that. And I'm just going to find it within the boxes and simply click on it. And it's going to open up, maybe, if it wants to work for me. It's going to go ahead and open up another screen. Now before I continue with you guys, I'm going to quickly switch to a student view so that you get to see it the way that it looks on your end rather than on a teacher end, because it's just slightly different. And my computer's not downloading pictures, but that's what's there. This is the home page of Canvas. And every single class in 6th grade, your science, your math, your social studies, and your English, they're going to look pretty similar. We as teachers worked really hard this summer together to make sure that we made it simple for you as students and as parents, and we tried to mimic or what's the word I want? Exemplify each other's Canvas pages so they look almost identical. There's always slight variations just because we're different classes, but for the most part, they're going to look like this. Okay, so it's going to welcome you to whatever class you're in, and then it's going to do a couple different things. It's going to provide you with contact information so you can contact your teacher through Canvas messaging, just like I showed you earlier, or you can simply click here and type an email to them, and it will go to their email account rather than Canvas. As parents, you can choose either way. I know that if you want a quicker response, emailing them is better than using Canvas. Canvas we tend to use just for our students. So with parent communication, our emails are usually better. And then there's going to be some different links or resources that the teacher might have for you as a student. And that's going to be dependent upon the class. Okay? But the next thing that I'm going to show you is probably one of the most important parts of Canvas. And it's going to look almost identical for all of your classes. And that's the monthly calendar. On this home page, we as teachers have uploaded a calendar for you. This is basically our lesson plans here on Canvas for you. You get to come here and see every single day exactly what we're doing and link to it, which is great. When you're absent, this is the #1 place that students need to come to. If you're absent and you go to your teacher and say, Miss So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so, I was absent, how can I make it up? I guarantee that their response is always going to be, have you checked Canvas first? And so we tried to simplify it for you. We've given you a color coding system, and the color codes might be different for each class, but for the most part, you're going to have a color coding system. And this calendar is going to break down your teacher's day-to-day agenda. And I want to show you a couple different things that we as teachers are able to do. And that's why when you're absent, it makes it so much easier and better for you. You'll notice that this is an August calendar, and I've already kind of uploaded and started making plans for my students when school starts. And you'll notice some different colors happening on my calendar. As a teacher, I'm going to list my starters, my PowerPoints, my assignments. Anything that I give to a student is going to be able to be found here on the calendar for the most part. And when you're absent, you can come here and you can check. Now, I know none of you are going to be absent, right? You're always going to come to class and you're going to be there on time. We wish. We understand that it happens. And we want you to be successful students, and so we don't want you to be able to fall behind. The difference between elementary and middle school is not only do you have just one teacher you have to worry about, you now have 6. And that's a lot to take on. And so we try to make it as simple as possible. So when you're absent, or you simply just want to know what's going on, or maybe you lost your assignment and you need to print a new one, whatever the case may be, you can come here to Canvas and look at the calendar. Now this calendar, let's just go to the first day of school for my class. You'll notice that we're going to do a bucket list activity, and then we're going to do Miss Burton's contract. Let's pretend that maybe, you know what, you happened to get up on the first day of school and you were sick and you just couldn't make it. And you're like, oh no, I've already given a bad impression to my teacher. I didn't come to school on the first day. What's going to happen? Honestly, nothing. We're going to tell you to check out Canvas. You'll notice that on my color coding it says links to assignments, quizzes, and discussions are in blue. This blue, notice I can hover over it and I can actually click on it. So this bucket list activity, I'm going to go ahead and click on the word worksheet because it's blue. And it's going to download, you'll notice it flipped down. It's going to actually download the assignment that I can print at home and do it and then turn it in when I return to school. And it's as if I never missed the day. There's an example of what I should be doing, and I can look at that. And there's Miss Burton's bucket list. And there's even Miss Burton's contract. There's something I can click on. It will download it. It will open. I can read through Miss Burton's contract. Maybe it's thinking, doesn't want to show us. There we go. I can read through Miss Burton's contract, sign it at the bottom, and bring it to class the next day. And it was as if I was never absent. I never fell behind. And so you'll notice that that happens a lot. Okay? You'll notice that I put due dates and I color code them in red. I'll put PowerPoints, I'll put video links, I'll put anything that I do in class right here on the calendar for my students to access, and all of us are going to do that as teachers, so that you can always stay in contact with what's happening. Okay, and I'll show you what it looks like with the PowerPoint. These rules and procedures is going to download a PowerPoint, and I can look at it that way and go through everything that my teacher went through in class. And make it a lot easier for myself. And as parents, this allows you to stay in contact with your students and what they're doing as well. You know, as we look at different things, you know, as parents, it's overwhelming for you as well. There's a lot to take on as a middle school parent. And this will help you keep things straight and keep due dates and help your student the best that you can right here. Okay, just at the very bottom underneath the calendar is the units. When we finish one unit, so on the home page will be all the different months. So like for particularly ELA, maybe one unit will last 2 months or 3 months. And so all of those calendars, we'll have one calendar here on the home page. But maybe we moved into September, but you still have to do this book project. Okay, you can click on down here the units, and there's usually pictures, and it will take you to another page, and this will be different. It will actually have the calendars listed here instead of this. This was too confusing for students last year, so it will have the calendars listed there for them. Okay, so I mean it's pretty straightforward. It's nothing too tricky. This calendar is probably one of the most, there's my pictures. The calendar is probably the most important thing that you can absolutely use on Canvas. Okay, so now that we know what the Canvas is used for, the calendar is used for, I want to show you on the left-hand side the links that we are going to use. And there's not too many in 6th grade that we use. There's actually only 4 different links that we use, and it's pretty straightforward. So the first kind of link that we use is to discussions. You'll use this in science class a lot, and occasionally you'll use it in English class or math class or social studies class, but for the majority you will use it in science. I know that for a fact. So when you are assigned a discussion in class, you'll click on the discussion tab. You'll notice here that it has a discussion to click on. It will tell you when it's available. So unfortunately this one's not available till August 16th, and I'm going to leave student mode just to show you this because I really want you guys to see it. But I can click on it and it's going to open up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the instructions, and when I'm ready to type, I'll click on the reply button and I will type my response. Okay, and then I would hit post reply. The biggest thing with discussions, these are probably the simplest assignment that you'll have. The biggest thing with discussions that I can preface is that you really need to make sure that you're reading the instructions, especially because there's little things hidden in there. This one says that you have to comment on one other person's post. And so you can't just post yours, then you've got to scroll through and read other people's and comment on that. And so that's really important with discussions, is making sure that you read the instructions to stay on the correct path. Okay? I'm just going to put it back into student mode for you. The other things that we have are quizzes. Quizzes are pretty straightforward. There's no quiz available to you yet, but quizzes are simply, well, let me show you what a quiz looks like really fast. I would rather you see it than not. So when we go into quizzes, you will be able to click on quizzes. It's just going to be like the discussion. There's going to be a quiz there listed. You'll click on the title and it will bring it up. And then you'll hit begin where it says preview. You can't really see that. Where it says preview, it will actually say begin test. I'm on my side of it, so it doesn't say that. It will say begin test or begin quiz. And then you'll read the instructions. Sometimes there's a video or a PowerPoint or something to watch. And then you simply answer the questions. Notice they're not all multiple choice. Sometimes there's multiple choice. Sometimes I have to type my answer. Sometimes I have to choose different answers. And then I simply hit, and I'm sorry, my screen doesn't really show it very well. Down here in the corner, it says submit quiz. Once I submit quiz, it's going to say, are you sure you want to submit? I'll hit yes, and it will come up here, and it will actually give me my score that I received. It's instantaneous. You get that grade instantaneously, except for the ones you have to type. The ones you have to type, your teacher has to manually grade, and so that score would adjust just a little bit if there's any types of questions like that. Okay, so quizzes are pretty straightforward. I do want to say this about quizzes and tests on Canvas. A lot of students try and access them at home. I'm going to tell you straight up, as a teacher, you will receive a 0 and not be able to take that test or that quiz. That's a form of cheating. Tests and quizzes are to be done in class only unless the teacher gives you special permission to do it at home. But they should be done in class. They're tests, they're quizzes. You cannot access them at home. Even if they're opened, even if the availability is open, you are not allowed to access a quiz or test at home unless your teacher gives you permission to do so. Okay, so that's really important to know. All right, the last two things that I want to talk about are assignments and the grade tab. And they're a little bit more detailed, so I'm going to actually go ahead and do another screencast video just because I don't have enough time to cover both of them on this video. So go ahead and check out Canvas Training Part 3 to learn how to do an assignment and figure out your grades.